All right. Before we start round 3, there's a couple things we forgot to do at the end of round 2. We forgot to pay the clue tokens to actually move the act deck. And I was supposed to discard Dissonant Voices at the end of my turn. Okay. So now we're at the beginning of the Mythos phase. We're going to put 1 Doom token on the agenda deck. And then we're going to draw encounter cards. I'm going to be continuing to hear those dissonant voices, preventing me from playing assets or events.
And I have Grasping Hands. Revelation, test agility of 3. Each point you fail by, take 1 damage. Anyways. There are Grasping Hands coming up through the floorboards at me. And I am going to commit my backstab card to the skill check, which will give me +1 agility.
Unfortunately, I have no agility cards.
Well, Wendy has a fairly decent agility of 4 anyways, so between her innate ability and the committed card, we're already at a 5. So -3.
Oof.
But I can use my special ability. I can discard this card in my hand, which is kind of a bummer because it was a good card. But redraw. And I get -1. So I pass. I take no damage. The Grasping Hands goes to the discard, and the card that I committed goes to the discard.
Nice. So now we move on to the investigator phase. And obviously we are going to have to move because there are no clue tokens to get in the hallway. So the hallway, as we've decided, connects to all 3 of the other rooms, but the parlor is locked off. So I'm going to move to the attic. When we do that, we flip it over, and we see that it gets 2 clue tokens per investigator. So to get 4 clue tokens, and forced, after you enter the attic, take a horror. And it looks like there's rotten meat hanging from the ceiling in my house that apparently I was totally unaware of. So that goes over there. That will get 4 clue tokens. I will take 1 horror, please. Now, so we've taken our first bit of damage. As you can see on my card here, I have 9 health and 5 sanity. So if I ever reach 9 damage or 5 horror, it's game over.
And Wendy is even. She has 7 of each.
So that was my first action, moving to the attic. Now I cannot play asset or event cards. So I will spend 1 action to draw a card. Get another asset card. And then I will try to research to get a clue token from the attic. So I have a 4 intellect, a +1. No, I have a 3 intellect. I'm sorry. It's a 4 fight. I have a 3 intellect +1 for Dr. Milan Christopher. So I'm at a total of 4. And the Shroud of the Attic is only 1. So as long as I don't get the -4 token, I should be okay. And there's only 1 of them in here. So I get a cracked tablet. The cracked tablet in this scenario means -2. If there is a ghoul enemy at your location, take 1 damage. So there's no ghoul enemy at my location, but it is still -2, which is still enough for me to succeed. Because I was at 4 to start, -2 brings me to 2, which is equal to or above the Shroud. So I get a clue token. And because of Dr. Milan Christopher, I also gain a resource token. And that is my 3 actions.
Okay. Wendy will also move to the attic.
Up next to Mike. Oh, yeah. I'll put enemies on the bottom.
All right. And she's going to, for her second action, draw a card. And
we're staying together.
And I have to take a horror.
You can only put bonus cards, commit bonus cards to a player's skill check if they share a location with you. So if we were in different locations, we couldn't help each other if things started going south.
And I just remembered that I went into the attic, which makes me take a horror. So I just took that.
Because of the rotting flesh that I have hanging from my rafters.
Yeah, your house is kind of gross. So this asset that I just drew is kind of important. So rather than investigate this turn, I'm going to prep for future. And I'm going to pay 2 resources to put out the flashlight.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and it gives me 3 uses, so I'll put 3 resources on it to mark my uses. But that is unfortunately my third action.
Alright, so the enemy phase, we can skip once again, because there are no enemies. In the upkeep phase, we reset all tokens. Ready all exhausted cards. Each investigator draws a card. And each investigator gains a resource.
I am stacking up the resources over here.
Oh, and at the end of the investigator's turn, I would discard Dissonant Voices. And that is the end of the round. I think I'll call it here. Be a short round. 7 minutes. The others kind of went a little long. I'm trying to keep the episodes to 10 minutes, but sometimes they go a little longer. And I think so far we're moving along pretty well. Where did you put a second Doom? Yeah, there's 2 Doom tokens on there. So next round we're going to advance the agenda deck. So that's what we got to look forward to. We are substantially ahead of where we were when we played this scenario last night, though. So I'm feeling pretty good, especially as we have yet to encounter any enemies. The enemies in this can be pretty nasty, and we've avoided them. I've just had weird voices in my head. She's had some hands clawing at her. Nothing that we haven't been able to handle. Next turn, though, things are going to amp up a little bit as the forces of the house start to focus their intent on us.